And we're back on the one and only RotoHackers Podcast, and we totally showed up last week. I don't know what you're talking about that we missed last week. That didn't happen. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back on the one and only RotoHackers Podcast. Pretty sure I already said that twice, but whatever. This is... All right, you know what? I give up. I am AJ Herschel, and right over there is the absolute, the ultimate stud who is just getting more adjectives than Spider-Man has. It's Jared! And I don't think the absolute Spider-Man is one that he has. So that one's like all your own. I don't know any superhero that has absolute in front of their title. So we should go ahead and trademark that, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think right now it's reserved for alcoholic beverages. That's about the only.
And you're accidentally muted again. Okay. Don't know how that happened.
Yeah. I think I don't know. There's something going on with my computer because I'm not touching anything. So,
oh gosh. Oh no.
So that's going to be fun that apparently it's going to randomly mute me from time to time, which it's a function I've begged for on Judah's computer for a long time. But now all of a sudden it's on mine. So I don't know what's going on.
Well, and speaking of Judah, he's on special assignment once again. If he's somehow able to show up, that'd be incredible. But the fact that he hasn't shown up may lead me to believe that he's actually getting that New Mexico football team in Albuquerque, and not in the NFL like we were thinking, Jared, but the USFL just came out with their new teams. And we haven't seen the Albuquerque Alpacas yet, but I'm not counting it out.
Yeah, well, the college football coaching carousel has been a lot more unpredictable and dramatic than we would have expected. Maybe he's jumped in there. Now, generally Judah is anti-higher education. Generally he's anti-education, period. And he practices what he preaches. He lives it by just never being informed on anything. And you gotta admire someone who stands by their principles on that. So I don't know if he would do that sort of thing, if he would take that sort of job. Maybe it's sort of I'll destroy it from within sort of approach. We'll see. I don't know. I'm just throwing out possibilities here.
Yeah.
I know he's not here to defend himself, but that's okay. That's okay with me. So
because you'd do it if he was here anyway.
I would do it if he was here anyway. Yeah. So what can you say?
Wow. Jonathan Buster's not even here, and the Judah slander has already begun. But Anthony's in the comments section saying, "What up, Roto Hackers?" Well, what up, Anthony? It's good to see you once again. And if I am not if I'm not incorrect, congratulations on clinching a playoff spot in the Roto Hackers Fantasy Football League, one of the 3 teams who has clinched between Drew Vano, just dominated the whole league this year at 11-2. Jonathan Buster's, the fantasy team, is ending the year on a 5-game win streak. He's clinched as well as Anthony at 9-4. But the other person on the 5-game win streak is Jared. And even though his team is apparently, by his own admission, not as studly as last year, he is sitting at the 6th seed. So we'll see what happens this week in the RotoHackers League. Jared, you got to be proud about the comeback.
I am proud of the comeback. I started 0-4 and then 2-6, and I've gone 7-2 and then 5-0 since then. yeah, it was not a good start to the season for me. Jonathan Buster wanted me to name my team the Absolute Duds. I refused because I felt like they could come back. So we went with the softer, not as studly as last year, which is accurate.
True.
But yeah, they've come on this one. It's been 2 straight weeks of RotoHackers host matchups. So I played Judah and then I played you. And I needed really to beat you to have much of any chance here.
Yeah.
And so I did. I got a good performance from some of my players, and so now, yeah, I'm in that 6th spot. However, you're still in it. Pitt's Magic, is still in it. He's a game back of us. Need both of us to lose. That's Thomas H, I believe, isn't that? Yeah, that's Thomas H.
Correct.
So he would need both of us to lose and him win for have a shot on points. But I have to play Jonathan Buster this week. And you get what we'll just describe as a somewhat softer challenge. I'm not gonna name names, but I'll just say that if Judah Buddha could maybe turn in a decent effort this week, I would not be opposed to that. I'm not normally rooting for him on a consistent basis or concerned how his team is doing, but this week in particular, I might be a little bit more of a Judah Buddha fan.
Yeah, well, here's hoping he doesn't notice Kamara is sitting on his IR and is coming back this week, and doesn't notice that Carson Wentz is on a bye, because currently it's like projected 50-40. And even if I get in the playoffs, I am not confident that I win, because I've got Ty Johnson and Carlos Hyde starting this week. So Chase Edmonds, if you can hear me, please be healthy. Your people need you. Very literally, we are going to just get wrecked otherwise. But yeah, I need some stuff to happen. Jared could lose and I need to win to get in because he's beating me in point differential. If Coedmon's team, the Hissing Cockroaches, loses and I win, I'll be able to get in on point differential over him. So it will be theoretically in point differential. I only have an 8-point lead right now, but hey, I'll take it. It is going to be a close, down to the wire in RotoHackers. And Gotham City Jokers, look, Ryan N., I know you're not here right now, but man, if you could knock off Coedmon this week, that would be just the best. If you could. A lot of stuff happened this week in the NFL, and we're probably going to spend less time on pickups because there aren't, being that we are 1 to 2 weeks, maybe 3 if you're in an 8-team league, depending on where you are. We are very close to the playoffs, so there aren't a lot of people out on your waiver wire currently because absolutely everybody is taken. So we'll give what we can. Jonathan Buster's in the comment section. Man, I haven't listened in weeks, and I've already heard my name spoken 4 or 5 times. Jared faces me with Jonathan Taylor on bye. Best of luck, sir. Not really. Well, I don't even know what you're complaining about. You've already clinched a playoff spot, Jonathan Buster. You're in. You're locked into the playoffs. So I don't know what kind of matchup you're looking for. Hopefully you don't face me. But then again, no matter who I face in the playoffs, I'm probably going to lose. And Jared is back. And Jonathan Buster just called you out, by the way.
I'm sorry I missed that. Yeah, so apparently my microphone was not wanting to communicate with Firefox very well. So sorry.
Fun.
Sorry for that.
No worries.
Yes, I do. I like the fact that I'm facing him with Jonathan Taylor on bye. That's quite helpful. So we'll see. Still gonna be a tough matchup, but I like it better without Jonathan Taylor. Although I've got Jonathan Taylor on a bunch of teams, and he would be useful for me in some other leagues. So,
yeah. And to be fair, Jared, you've been like this 5-game win streak. You haven't been crushing every terrible team. Granted, you beat Cannon Fodder, whose name unfortunately says it all, Liam, and Devout Patriots, who's sitting at 4 wins. But Judah, myself, and then all Gotham City Jokers in a 3-point win. Ryan N sitting in fourth right now. So you've had some at least tough mental matchups to get where you are.
Well, and I think it's important to point out that I now have the third most points in the league overall. So
wow.
So my team hasn't been bad, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just it just had some unfortunate. It had an unfortunate first month. With a lot of teams scoring a lot of points against me in some games that I could have otherwise won.
Right.
But yeah, it's rallied. So
yeah, and I think my week, at least for that league, is epitomized by dropping Amon-Ra St. Brown. The 1 week he scores 19.8.
Yeah.
That, granted, I wouldn't have won, but it would have been a little bit nice not to have Christian Kirk's 0.9.
Yeah, I've done that same thing with St. Brown, where I've tried to use him a time or two, and it just doesn't. Yeah. I haven't rolled the dice correctly.
Yeah.
On that, so and it's looking like actually Josh Reynolds is kind of come on as an option in Detroit. So I don't know.
Can't trust anybody.
You can't in Detroit, no.
Yep. And speaking of Amon-Ra St. Brown and everything else that happened this week, I would like to go ahead and pour one out for everybody who started Darrell Henderson this week and lost because of it. He was activated and got 0 snaps because he was the emergency running back this week. Unfortunately, I was the victim of that in one league. Fortunately, that league didn't really matter. I've already clinched. But really sorry to anybody else that happened to who lost him a game. I don't know what to say about that. This is the same thing we encountered last year with Darrell Henderson. He gets banged up, goes out for a couple weeks, and then comes back and does great. So I'm expecting to start him next week, of course, as well. But really, we got a lot of people coming back off of injury. Kyler's back and looking good again. DeAndre Hopkins came back, scored a touchdown, I guess. So we'll take it. But as I said before, 40 Cardinals wide receivers, very hard to trust right now. Coedmon Bauer in the comment section saying, RotoHackers, hello. Well, hello to you, Coedmon Bauer. Good to see you in the chat as well. We are experiencing some technical difficulties with Jared right now, but hopefully he will be back and better than ever, as usual. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about a lot of the stuff that happened this week in the NFL, some stuff that surprised us, some stuff that just is exactly as expected. And this is the intro that I'm looking for right here.
News in the NFL today.
We got a question on our RotoHackers Discord, which you can join at our YouTube site, youtube.com/RotoHackers. Check us out there. We have a Discord there. We got a question from our man, Liam Wilson. Would you guys drop Rashad Bateman or Devonta Smith for Russell Gage? And these are two players that have kind of gone opposite directions. Rashad Bateman, after a couple weeks, reminds me a lot of Rondale Moore this year. Came out, performed really, really well. But now with the Ravens offense starting to struggle over these next 2 weeks, over the past few weeks, with him not getting nearly as many targets, with Hollywood back, with Mark Andrews back, he's kind of plummeted to the bottom. Devonta Smith, another guy, sitting at 3-4 points over the past few weeks because Philadelphia, no offense if you're an Eagles fan, has looked absolutely terrible. And meanwhile, on the other side, the 2020 3-week hero Russell Gage has showed up with 4 out of his last 5 games receiving 7 or more targets, and in his last few games in F1 PPR putting up 15 and 16 points respectively. And I did not see that coming at all. Jared, welcome back once again. What is your feeling on Russell Gage?
Yeah, sorry, I restarted my computer, so maybe
worries, it happens. Cool.
Yeah, so I think Russell Gage is Russell Gage is a good pickup. I don't trust him because I've been burned by Russell Gage before.
Yep.
I mean, it's I don't know if I've ever seen a receiver. I guess maybe Russell Gage is sort of like a poor man's Brandon Cooks, where from several years back, where he'll have a bunch of games, and then all of a sudden, 0 catches on 3 targets.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, he did that in the Dallas game of all games,
Yep.
where he, how did that happen? So he's had 2 good games back to back. What scares me is, he's got Carolina and San Francisco. 3 of his last 4 games: Carolina, San Francisco, Detroit, and Buffalo. 3 of those I don't love. The Detroit game in the semifinals,
right?
In what's most the semifinals for most leagues. One I like, but I mean, if you need a wide receiver, and you may need a wide receiver, I have a team where I'm fighting for a playoff spot, and my normal starting wide receivers are Keenan Allen and Adam Thielen. Well, Adam Thielen,
Yep,
high ankle sprain. He's going to be out at least this week. I would say probably longer than that. Keenan Allen is now on the COVID list. We're not sure if he's vaccinated or not, or if he has COVID, or what's going on there. Maybe he plays Sunday, maybe he doesn't. But suddenly, I'm now pivoting to other options. So, yeah, I think there are some options out there at receiver this week. Gage is one of them. He's had the best performance, lately of probably almost anyone you're going to find on the waiver wire. But there are some other options if you're willing to take a little risk. Valdez-Scantling's had 2 back-to-back, good weeks. He's gotten double-digit targets one week and 9 targets another week. Again, though, it feels like a Gage situation where, he might have 0 catches on 4 targets next week. So he worries me. KJ Osborne, who's probably going to be filling in, absorbing some of those targets for Thielen. He's going to be out there. He's a possibility. So those are kind of the ones that I'm looking at. How about you?
I think you definitely mentioned a lot of them. Wide receiver's kind of a mess, and unfortunately, guys like Jacoby Myers, who has been a decent boomer bust, are going to be out this week, and that is one of the annoying things I will say with the schedule this year. Good night. The bye weeks are kind of killer coming in the weeks right before the playoffs. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is definitely a desperation one, especially going up against a really tough Denver defense. I think Jamison Crowder is another desperation one you could get. New Orleans hasn't been particularly great in recent weeks against wide receivers.
Recommended treatment so they can make 28.
No, you're fine. It's all right. Cool. Good. I don't know what treatment they're recommending for me, but I'm just going to go ahead and pass on that one. I think
probably a good idea.
I think for any of the leagues that he's out there in, Sony Michel needs to be picked up just because Darrell Henderson gets banged up at the end of the year. And after a 20-point game last week, I feel like he's just an absolute need for anybody who has him as a handcuff. I can't believe that I'm actually saying this, but if I can remember his name correctly, if you need like an absolute last gasp, I'm going Patrick Ricard of the Baltimore Ravens, who's a fullback who catches like 2 passes a game. That is a RotoHackers League type pickup right there. And one last one, Marquez Callaway and Deontay Harris, but Deontay Harris is suspended. So Marquez Callaway, because they get the Jets this week. So if there is any week that the Saints are going to be able to score 20 touchdowns, it's going to be this one.
True. Yeah, I Taysom Hill's out there in quite a few leagues, so that would be the only thing that would maybe for me is I like Taysom Hill, but it might be Taysom Hill and Kamara, running in, combining for 8 touchdowns on the ground.
Right.
yeah, I think Callaway, especially with Harris out, is a good, more of a deeper league desperate option too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Coedmon, Thomas H in the comment section saying free DK.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a whole thing. So the let Russ cook train has completely dropped off now that he's coming back from injury, and DK hasn't scored more than 10 points in half-point PPR in 4 weeks.
Yeah. DK's killing me. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. Seattle's just sort of Seattle's offense is just a mess. They don't have anyone that can run the ball consistently. DK is doing nothing. Russ typically isn't doing much. Tyler Lockett, you never know if he's going to show up or not. Lately, the last week or two has been better, but DK unfortunately has been a pretty much a bust since mostly since Russ went down.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just kind of been like after the bye week, everything just has kind of gone downhill for Seattle in general for fantasy since then. Coedmon Bauer, it's possible I accidentally didn't play Leonard Fournette the last 2 weeks, and I regret that decision.
See, I
would too.
I was hoping that the hissing cockroaches would also lose, and then last week, and then that would set me up in a pretty good position where I would really have just needed you or Coedmon to lose in order for me to get in, regardless of if I won or lost. But Josh Allen got shut down by a combination of the Patriots and the wind, and didn't quite get enough points for the other team to beat Coedmon. So.
Yeah, I was watching the game with my brother, and I said, you better enjoy this. This is probably the only time you'll ever get to watch true 1947 football in the modern era. 3 passes from Mac Jones.
Yeah, I had to work all day. I had a late night at work, and I came in and I was looking at the stats and wondering, okay, is this accurate? Did the stat freeze up? What's going on here? So then I found out later about the win, all that stuff. So that'll maybe, I don't know that that'll ever happen again in the NFL ever. Yeah, absolutely. I remember watching the pregame and Adam Schefter's just trying to sit, on those really high stools that they have. And then all of a sudden his chair starts leaning forward just by pure force of the wind. Wow.
50 miles an hour pregame. And I would like to say thank you. I thought I was destined to lose one of my games this week, but thanks to the combination of Tyler Bass missing a field goal due to the wind and the defensive game it was, I won a game by 0.2 this week that I needed to win to get into it right outside the playoff picture. And that league's only 8 teams, so I got a couple more weeks. So I needed that one to happen. Gotcha. Lightning Bauer says, why are you guys hacking rotos over there anyway? Great question. Look, we're not mainstream. We don't have 8.7 million subscribers or whatever the NFL's at right now. We are here to answer viewer questions, to get down in the nitty-gritty of fantasy football with tight ends like Dan Arnold. We're the guys here with anywhere ranging between 8 to 25 teams who have the full insight to let you guys know exactly what we think you should be doing in fantasy football. We strive to have the most accurate guesswork in fantasy. Plus, you get the personalities. You get Judah Buddha, who almost ended up as the head coach of the Washington football team and has 1 win in his lifetime against Jared. You get Jared, where almost anything he says turns out to be correct, and he's the absolute stud. And, you got me, who's somewhere in the middle.
Well, see, I actually have to give Judah credit. Well, there's going to be a positive here for Judah, and then there's going to be a negative.
No. So
that's
nicer than normal.
In our other league, Judah actually the week where we were last week where we were playing each other in RotoHackers and playing each other in the other week in the other league, he beat me in the other league again. He's 0-7 against me in all other leagues and 2-0 against me in that league. So naturally, me being a good analytics guy, I set out to figure out what is wrong with this team. Why is this team struggling against Judah Buddha? I mean, it makes no sense. I'm 7-0 otherwise, and in that league 0-2. And then I figured it out.
What was it?
He paid for that team for me. Because he owed me money, and so he paid my entry fee to that league. So it's tarnished with Judah Buddha's bad luck. So really, did I even lose to him? Do we even count these losses since he paid for this team? I don't know. I think at the very least, those 2 victories of his against me deserve a large asterisk.
Just a large one, not a
large
one.
No, a large one, like so large that it's actually in front of the W, completely concealing the W.
Got it. I feel like this is going to end up as, one of the, in college football, certain, the team won't count certain games because all our players were, fighting in World War II or whatever, or, this one was when we were in a different conference or whatever. It's the records are just a little bit different. Yeah. I feel like that's what's going to happen here.
Well, it's it's just like how the NCAA will do an investigation and they'll retroactively take away wins if there was an ineligible player or something like that. Right. This is almost sort of an ineligible team because it was paid for by Judah. So
I see. Gotcha. So by extension, this shouldn't count. Neither of them should.
Right.
Interesting. Right. Is there any chance we get a playoff rematch between the 2 of you in that league?
There is. My team is on the playoff bubble. It's done the opposite of my RotoHackers team, where my RotoHackers team has come on strong. This other team has somehow just fallen apart, and I have a good roster too. I don't know really what I don't know what's going on with it, but it's actually lost 5 out of 6 games. So I started the season 6-1, and it's lost 5 out of 6. Part of that was DeAndre Hopkins being hurt. Part of that was trusting Lamar Jackson as my quarterback, and he's not been consistent. So Hopkins is healthy. I've got Taysom Hill in at quarterback for this week. I feel pretty good about winning. I don't need necessarily another team to lose. I'm 4 points. There's me and another team that are tied 7-6, and I'm 4 points behind him. So if I outscore him by 4 points, even if we both win or lose, I can leapfrog him. So my match looking pretty good this week, and so we'll see. But nice. So there could be a rematch with Judah to
purge all of the collusion that's gone on with these few matchups. Got it. All right.
Correct. Yeah.
Understandable.
And that's way more information than people wanted about my league with Judah,
but we're in week 14. It's not like there's that much to go over. Yeah. People are just gonna have to take what they get at this point. We're barely making it on air. Usually when we do, it's only 2 of us. It's just sorry, it's 2021. Yeah, the end of the season's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, for crying out loud, half of the players in the NFL are injured every other week. You don't expect us with questionable tags every Tuesday morning.
That's right.
Will there be a show or not? It's like Jared questionable, AJ Judah doubtful. It's you got to figure out what we're doing.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Coedmon Bauer. So, AJ, what are your thoughts on this week's Bears game? Kyler Murray threw 15 passes and we lost. It's what do you want me to say? We're so bad that we're throwing interceptions to the other team by extension of Cole Kmet, which no offense, Kmet. I know that's rough, but it's kind of rough to watch Andy Dalton throw a pass, you catch it, fall back, and then just go whoop right behind you to Isaiah Simmons or whoever that was. It was exactly what I expected it to be. About the upcoming game against the Packers, you guys are probably going like there's a 97% chance you win. It's Bears Packers and Sunday Night Football in Lambeau. I don't know what kind of a statement you're trying to get out of me, but I'm not confident. I'm sorry, Khalil. I'm sorry, Walter, but no, I am not confident about this game at all. That's probably an understatement. I think it's going to be terrible. And I'm starting all of my Aaron Rodgers this week for it. What else do we got? Eli Mitchell this week, Jared, is questionable. He's in concussion protocol. Unfortunately, unlike his other injuries where he gets banged up on his knee or his ankle or his groin or his shoulder or whatever's injured where we're not sure whether he's going to play, it's a concussion, which is not a good thing. But at least you know, okay, he either passes concussion protocol or he doesn't. It's going to be pretty straightforward. I feel like if he's good to go, you start him because the man gets 27 carries a game or whatever he's averaging. But if he's not, how much do you like Jeff Wilson? Because while he's performed mostly well, there's been a couple of times there's been a little touch and go with him where he doesn't quite live up to the expectation we have.
Well, the tough thing with Wilson this week is he's questionable too. His knee flared up. So Shanahan says he's going to be sidelined a couple of days. If that's accurate, then I would pretty well trust him when he comes back. But is that I don't know if Shanahan can really know that or not. So is it going to be Jermichael Hasty?
Trey Sermon?
Yeah. Well, Sermon I think Sermon's out, but so I mean, going into
you're right, he's on IR. My bad.
But you're right. I mean, Eli Mitchell, if plays, I mean, it's funny going into the season. Who would have ever been able to guess that one of the best, most reliable running backs, when he plays, I mean, he missed, a couple of games, few games due to injury, but
everybody did.
That one of the most workhorse backs this year would be Eli Mitchell. Who would have guessed?
Honestly.
So yeah, I like him if he plays. If not, it's tough to know. I mean, because you gotta put your waiver claim in tonight. Jeff Wilson, Jermichael Hasty. It's kind of neither one of them. It's kind of a gamble.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one, Melvin Gordon's out, is questionable now after being out this week, and I know you absolutely loved having Javonte Williams as the feature back, sitting in RotoHackers with that win over me this week. So I feel like Javonte's an automatic stardom, but if Melvin's healthy, how much do you trust him this week?
I mean, if they both go, then it's kind of, I don't know. It's sort of one of those things where you can count on anywhere from about 9 to 18 points from Gordon. So, I mean, he's a pretty good flex. I mean, the Lions are terrible. I would, I'm going to see, I mean, with it being Detroit, I would not be surprised to just see them hold Melvin Gordon out a week. I mean, why? Yeah. Why would you start him against Detroit?
Well, hey, they did just get their first win of the year this year, to be fair.
They did. Yeah. That's a little bit embarrassing for Minnesota.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody. I was talking to my brother, and I said, if we took all of the Lions games that they lost by a score and flipped all of the game-winning field goals that they lost and everything, and the overtime tied the Steelers into wins, they'd be sitting as the second wild card seed 2 games behind the Packers. They are like multiple game-winning field goals away from being in a playoff spot, and that makes me feel kind of bad for them.
Yeah. I didn't realize that. That's actually pretty impressive considering, what they have or don't have. They don't have wide receivers. They don't have the best quarterback.
D Swift hasn't been healthy.
Right. So yeah, that's actually pretty solid.
Yeah. Lions fans can hopefully go into honestly, maybe that's the best way to do it. Lose all of your games very close and still get the number 1 pick in the draft. Maybe we should all just be taking notes, honestly, on how to game the system.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we have any, I guess we want to go through the rest of our waiver wire, suggestions here. Receiver is going to be, of course, the easy one. There's not a whole lot on the wire for quarterback. Although I've actually seen a couple of people drop Joe Burrow.
I did see that. Yeah.
His injury or what the thinking there is, but so a limited amount. If you're desperate for a quarterback play this week, Cam Newton's only 29% rostered. I would normally not do a whole lot of recommending Cam Newton, but he did put up 26 points against Washington, which has, I believe, given up the most points to quarterbacks, most fantasy points to quarterbacks. This week he gets Atlanta, which has given up the second most. And so it's pretty much boom or bust with Cam, but Cam has always played well against the Falcons, and the Falcons are terrible against quarterbacks this year. So if you need a spot start, if you've got to go on a bye, maybe a Jalen Hurts or someone like that, I think Cam is a good option for that. And then, so I'll do quarterback and tight end, and I'll throw that over to you. So,
all right.
Tight end, I guess it's looks like Logan Thomas can't really stay on the field. So I think he's out again. So tight end has been pretty, generous on the waiver wire so far. Pat Freiermuth. I don't know if I'm ever pronouncing his name correctly.
Right.
He's still technically only 65% rostered. He's pretty well taken up in all my paid leagues. So, he's not really. So then you start pivoting to, maybe Ricky Seals-Jones. He had a good run of a couple of weeks. And then he's also been hurt, so he's questionable. I'm not sure if he's going to come back, but tight end is a little bit quieter right now. Actually, while we're talking about the Seahawks and DK, Gerald Everett, has come on now. Granted. Last week he got owners negative points. He had 6 targets, 4 catches for 7 yards. I don't even know how that happened. And then I guess he had a fumble because he had negative 1.3 points. They do get Houston this week, and they've given up the 9th most fantasy points to tight ends. He's only 28% rostered, and that on the other hand stays pretty well true to my leagues because he's available in all but a handful. So so he's a potential option too. Anybody that comes to mind for you for quarterback and tight end?
Yeah, quarterback for me. Look, I can't believe I'm saying this, but then again, I feel like we're also going to be saying that a lot for this segment. Ben Roethlisberger gets Minnesota, and they just got torched by Jared Goff. So if he's going to score points against anybody, It's going to be against Minnesota. So he's the quarterback that definitely sticks out to me on the waiver wire. When it comes to tight end, I think you nailed Gerald Everett is the one I was looking at as well. Tight end is really tough, especially since a lot of people are holding 2 tight ends at this point pretty often. Ricky Seals-Jones is another good one. I think Austin Hooper is a desperation one that he could catch a red zone target against Baltimore. That's kind of what he does. And his target share hasn't been too bad. 3 of his last games, he's gotten 5 or more targets. That's kind of the best you can hope for with tight ends getting down to week 14. So I think he's also a not bad last gasp tight end as well.
And somebody I forgot to mention, I thought he was probably more owned than what he is, because I have him in a couple of places, and is Tyler Conklin.
Yeah, another good one.
He's he's not done a whole lot this year. I mean, most, it's either been like a handful of points, or he's typically been up around 7 or 8. He has had a couple of big games, but I think the key here is that with Thielen out, those targets are going to have to go somewhere. They're probably not all going to go to KJ Osborne. So I think Conklin becomes more attractive there.
True. That's a good pick. That's a really nice one. Let's see. I don't really know if there's a whole lot of any other players at those positions. Running back is another one, Jared, that's just like completely rough. If I'm a Davian Harris owner and I'm in one of the 40% that Ramondre Stevenson is still available in, I would grab him as the easiest handcuff in the world. For people trying to pick up Mike Davis, I get it if you're in desperate need of a running back. I'm starting Ty Johnson in the league. I completely understand where you're coming from. Keep in mind, he had the same amount of touches this week as he did last week. The touchdown is the only reason he got 14 this week instead of 5. So I'd be very wary of picking him up this week. Also, Patrick Ricard was kind of a joke if anybody didn't get that. But yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. There's very little for this week. I mean, I think I actually have seen a few leagues where, so again, this is disproportionate between my paid leagues versus Yahoo all, whereas in my paid leagues, this guy's only available in like 10% of leagues, whereas he's only rostered in 42% of leagues overall is Dontrell Hilliard. So, two games, 12.2 points and 17.8. So, he's averaging about 15 a game over those 2 games, getting a fair amount of carries. So you could check to see if he's out there. Other than that, it's you're getting into a lean week. I will say, if you need someone else for, say, the stretch run after this week, Jordan Howard is 10% rostered. He's got the bye this week. He was hurt for 2 weeks before that, but they're hoping he can come back and play in week 15. He gets the Redskins. He gets 2 matchups with the Redskins sandwiched between the Giants. So that's not exactly the best matchup, at least from the Redskins standpoint, because they've been pretty good against the run. They've been 13th fewest, so that, but it's not like an intimidating, like, oh, they're a top 10, top 5 defense against the run. And Jordan Howard has been, we've seen the Eagles don't want Miles Sanders a full load, so Howard was splitting those touches. He was getting double-digit touches. So I would consider him really desperate at running back there.
Yeah, that's another good one. And also off of Hilliard, also Deonta Foreman is still getting carries for Tennessee too. They're both 40% owned, meaning that all of the paid leagues are the 40% that picked him up. So I just checked all my free leagues. He's available in all of them. compared to outside of RotoHackers. But like contrary to Hilliard, who's been picked up, Foreman hasn't. So I think he's another one that you're going to want to go grab. This is kind of just a PSA to anybody who's still holding on to these guys. Look, Younghoe Koo should not be 46% owned right now for kicker. He has not broken 10 points since week 8. When guys like Daniel Carlson is still out in 20% of leagues for absolutely no discernible reason. Evan McPherson, he's a little inconsistent, but he put up 13 and 21 in 2 of his last 3 weeks. What has Younghoe done in those last few weeks? Check your kicker. I cannot tell you how many times in a year where I'll leave my kicker in, and then like 6, 7, 8 weeks in, I see, all right, it's not working out. And then I go to check the waiver wire, and like the top three of the top 7 kickers are up there because no one pays attention to kickers. I cannot tell you how often that happens.
Yeah, people tend to sort of go with name kickers or, go with who was the big kicker last year, or guys that are thought to be in a, high-powered offense. And we've kind of started to see that doesn't really always play out the best. So, there's guys now who, Justin Tucker is still great. But then you take someone like, say, Harrison Butker has actually come on later in the season. Started out pretty rough. A lot of just 5 or 6 point games. But someone like Butker's not the name that he used to be. So yeah, people really don't pay attention. And sometimes you get a team that can move the ball pretty well, but kind of struggle to score in the red zone. And that sort of thing is better for kickers than almost anything else a lot of times.
Yeah, very true. Thomas H says, I'm not too happy AJ beat me by point. Yeah, it was Thomas H that I beat. Not too happy that AJ beat me by 0.2 points in one league this week. Caven's not either. I'm very happy about it. You are like already locked in the playoffs. I'm a game out. I needed that win. Yep. I'm very happy that one worked out. Thomas H, I finally started dropping Calvin Ridley from my teams. Wish I could have that pick back. You are not the only one. That is a rough situation for all of us. And on top of that, if you, like me, are a Kyle Pitts owner in a lot of leagues too, that didn't work out either. That is a pick way too high for a tight end this year.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about the at the end of the season, we're going to have to talk about an all bust team. And
True.
I had a team, by far my worst team, and it makes sense why it was my worst team, where I had Calvin Ridley. My top 2 receivers were Calvin Ridley and Allen Robinson. So it was very quickly out of the running. So
yikes.
Yeah,
that's rough. I had one with McCaffrey as my 1 and like Ridley as my 2 in a 12 team. That did not end well for me either, especially with Ayuk in like round 5. That league also shipped me out pretty quick. Fortunately, that's my worst league. But yeah, that one's rough. Anthony, should we temper our expectations for Alvin Kamara's return against the Jets? If he does return, which I wouldn't be objected to if he didn't, since I'm going up against Judah and Alvin Kamara this week. But if he does return, should we temper our expectations with Taysom Hill at the wheel? This is a weird situation, Jared. They didn't let Taysom run until like the 3rd quarter of the last game. And then he actually did well because he's Taysom Hill and killed my one game where I had Mark Ingram. And that was a lost cause. What do you think, Jared?
I think it's tough to know because we've had so many weeks of just getting false hope about Alvin Kamara coming back. Period. I think you have to worry a little bit about all the all the variables there between, is he even going to play? If he plays, how much is Ingram still going to get? How much is Taysom Hill going to take away? Yep. So I am not super confident that the Kamara, even if he comes back, the Kamara that you're getting back is going to be the one that you expected when you drafted him. Which, I mean, at this point, join the club with CMC, with Dalvin Cook, with Derrick Henry, with Saquon Barkley, you name it. And basically it's, Aaron Jones has been hurt a good bit.
Yep.
He's losing a lot of carries now to Dylan. I mean, it's just been basically almost anyone not named Jonathan Taylor.
Yep. That's great way of putting it. And we all know he's going to be probably the number 1 pick next year, barring anything disastrous.
Jonathan Taylor, and then like 15 straight wide receivers. We're all going to be afraid to draft a running back next year.
Exactly. Jared's strategy 2021. Take four running backs in the first 6 rounds. Jared's strategy in 2022, 0 RB. I took Mark Ingram as my first running back.
I'm gonna have to really think about it, because one of my I will say, I can't really put that on this team. I started to say that I had one of my best teams is a team where I drafted Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, and Tyreek Hill, and like, oh, you're thinking like, okay, you went wide receiver heavy. That's a good strategy. Clearly that's the way to go. But also keep in mind that my running backs are Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris, and Eli Mitchell. So
that's nice.
I got to go back and look at this team and see. So it was I'm spending a lot of time talking about my own personal team nobody cares about, but it was an auction league. So that's how this pool of talent came together. Is you wouldn't have been able to get those in a regular snake draft. So
that's not bad. I'm gonna give that to you all day. Coedmon Bauer, as a response to Anthony, says Taysom Hill be the GOAT. Alvin Kamara, related to the animal, the impala, is about to have 150 scrimmage yards. And I'm a little bit concerned about the scrimmage yards. I feel like if he does play, there's a good chance he gets a lot of the receiving and early down work, but then Ingram gets the goal line work, which is kind of what we saw the week before Kamara went out. So even if Kamara does get the yards, I don't know if he's going to get the touchdowns, especially near the goal line with Taysom and Ingram both being in.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
No way to know.
Yeah.
You'll get a week or two to maybe figure it out before the fantasy playoffs. But at the same time, who you got that you're going to put in over Alvin Kamara?
Right.
So
exactly.
You're going to have to live with it regardless.
Yep. There you go. And hey, maybe he Kamara's absolutely everyone again for the second straight year and just shocks the world, which I am never going to stop coming up with adjectives for that. You can get Diggs-ed on Monday night. You can get Kamara'd on a holiday, and then tailored, which means you just lose because of one player.
Yes. Agreed.
Yep. Well, that's pretty much all the fantasy related questions we have in the comment section. Coedmon asks, AJ, have we added any new Funko Pops to the collection lately? And I can't pull him out because he's kind of trapped, but a friend of mine got me an Avatar Aang Funko Pop down there for my birthday that I just got because we hadn't seen each other in forever.
It was a what?
Avatar Aang from the Last Airbender.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought we were talking about Avatar the movie.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah. And Jared, I know you're a Funko Pop guy too. You got any new ones recently?
So I added and so I normally keep my pops in the box, but I ordered one off of Amazon and the box came just absolutely destroyed.
Oh no.
So I just took this one out of the box. So I have
oh no. I'm jealous because I'm ordering that one this week, hopefully.
Yeah. I like this one. There's a couple of different versions of her. But this one I thought is pretty cool with the hood and the lightsabers crossed. So I do take take a pop out of the box once in a while. And actually the Star Wars ones are pretty good ones to do because they've got the little base at the bottom. And this one's a bobblehead too. So
yeah, true.
So I got that one. And then I'm trying to think if I ordered any others lately. I think the only other one that I've gotten lately is I ordered an Icarus pop from Eternals.
Yeah. Nice, very cool.
Yeah,
nice.
So it was I think it was a Funko Pop, or it was a Funko Shop exclusive.
Gotcha.
Just like him in regular street clothes. So I think that's supposed to be coming sometime this week. So
cool.
Yeah, we'll see. I may invest in some more around the holidays. I actually just bought 3 new pop stacks to put them in, starting to. I'm limited on room, and I always see pops that I would like, but then I'm like, where am I going to put this? So
right.
That's if you're a Funko Pop collector, that is always the key issue for most of us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's thinking right behind me, I've got this Inception level, like slanted. It's totally a camera thing, but it's like it looks like it could tip over at any moment.
yeah. I've started to realize that even with the pop stacks, you can go about 5, maybe 6 high before it starts getting a little sketchy. And and then if you go above 6, then you're really, I don't know. That's what I've found.
Right.
And I would hate to live on a fault line in the California area, because in that case I probably wouldn't want to go higher than 2 or 3. But
exactly. If that.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I feel like we've stalled for long enough. I don't know how much else I have. Jared, do you got anything else to finish us off with?
I'm gonna wrap up by saying, we talk about the position players a lot. Sometimes defense can come up big for you. This week there's some pretty good defensive options out there on the waiver wire with defenses that are not all that much owned.
Yep.
Bay is 39% rostered.
Yep.
They're available in several of my leagues. They get the Bears. You've got New Orleans going into they're 47. Actually, New Orleans is 47% rostered. They're available. They're available in more than half of my leagues. They get the Jets. Denver has the Lions coming into town this week. Denver's 48% rostered. The Lions are coming off that big win, and so they're just going to be thinking that they can beat anyone. I'd say that somewhat jokingly. Carolina's only 25% rostered. Atlanta has given up the most fantasy points to team defenses. Carolina's out there. There's a lot of good defensive options out there. And so if you're down to, needing to get win these last couple of weeks in order to get into playoffs, you may want to, if you're good everywhere else, if you don't really need somebody to pick up to plug into your lineup, you might want to use your waiver priority on a defense to kind of give you that boost, because that could make a double-digit point swing.
Yeah, kickers and defenses. Like I always say, that could be 2 points to lose you a game or 20 to win you one, depending on who you start. So, well said. Very important. I think that's going to wrap us up, everybody. This is probably the shortest episode in RotoHackers history. Sub-hour. I don't think this has ever been done before for years on our channel.
We got a minute. We got a minute to get off the air. So
we got 1 minute. So I don't know. Do you want to just check out before an hour?
Let's get out before an hour. Yeah. And
all right.
So I'll just close by saying good luck on the waiver wire.
Yep. All right. Have a good week, everybody. Good luck. We'll see you maybe Saturday.
Maybe Saturday. We'll see.
Yeah.